So I've searched enough and I'm not going to continue searching. It's supposed to come to me now. And it came. I had like a complete awakening during night sleep. And I woke up to be another person.
Welcome to the Energy Upgrade Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Grutman. And if you are a high-achieving woman, a successful entrepreneur, an inspiring entrepreneur, or just a woman with kick-ass big dreams, you're in the right place. If you value your energy, your health, if you want to be a biohacker, tap into longevity, if you want to raise the impact you have in this lifetime, you're going to have a lot of fun around here. As a second-time seven-figure business creator, certified health practitioner, and soul biohacker, I'm here to reconnect you to your energy, to the soul of your business, and to your superpowers. Let's go. Welcome home. Welcome back to another episode of the Energy Upgrade. This is your host, Vanessa Grutman. And today, before we dive into our episode, I actually want to celebrate something with you. You may have noticed this, but we are going soon on to 100 episodes of the Energy Upgrade podcast. Now, what this means is for almost 100 weeks, I have consecutively, without missing a single week, released a podcast episode. Now, you have no idea the amount of work that goes behind this. And I am so proud of having put together such a high value community, such a high value place where you can come and get information to support your healing journey, your expansion, your remembrance of your power and your light. It is so exciting to me to see that we are heading into 2025 now with more than 100 episodes. And to celebrate, I want to run a contest. Now, the one thing that would help me the most in this celebration milestone is if you could go and leave a 5-star review to help for the show to be seen by more amazing women just like you. Now, here's the thing. From now until the end of the year, if you leave a 5-star review, take a screenshot and send it to me by DM on Instagram at vanessa.grutman. I will enter you into the raffle of a detox, and we are going to be having multiple detoxes being given out. Now, my 7-day detox protocol is worth $177 US, and it is literally the one thing that has saved me. It was such a game changer in my healing journey, and it continues to be. I do a 7-day liver detox, that exact protocol, every season. And I want you to get in on that if you haven't already. So all you gotta do is leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, screenshot as a proof that you did it, send that over to me on Instagram via DM. My team will add you to the raffle, and we will have multiple detoxes drawn out and gifted through the next few weeks and until the end of the year. Now, this is your chance to literally not only benefit from the free information available on this podcast, but also share the love and receive love in return. So I'm very excited about this. Join me in celebrating. And again, I can't thank you enough for still being here after 100 episodes. So now let's dive into today's episode.
Today, I feel so blessed as we are about to embark on a fantastic conversation with Homaya Amar. Thank you, beautiful soul, for joining us today on this episode. I already feel like the vibration running through my body. So thank you for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I feel the same. I feel that there's already so many links and sparks. And so it's like almost also in the sense of soul to soul waiting to meet. Let's do it. Let's do it. It feels so good.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite.
Of course. And we've had the pleasure of being in similar spaces in a similar mentorship container. And it's just been, this attraction. I've just been having this attraction to you for many reasons, not only because of how beautiful, stunning you are, but also just like the power, the depth of your work. And I want to start with something that really caught my attention. And you talk about this concept of light activators. And I feel like it's a great place for us to start, where you could share a little bit more about your story and how you came up with this term of, instead of using light workers, light warriors, everything that we hear out there, light activator. And it just feels so right. When I read it, when I heard it, I was like, yes, actually so let's talk about light, business, leadership, boundaries, all the things today. But let's start with the beginning. How did you become a spiritual mentor?
Oh my God. That is really big.
That's a big question.
I will share that shortly, because there's like so much juice that is waiting for us in this conversation. So shortly, I will say I was an architect, and that was the dream of my life. I wanted to be an architect, and it was like, so I love the art. I loved the way that light is coming into spaces. I love that the fact that you can create something and then come into it. It was like mind blowing for me, the dimensions, everything. So I was very passionate architect. But there was an issue where I felt that the world, like I felt that I'm living a lie. I felt that something is not really the thing. It's almost like I felt that I am next to the thing. I'm not doing the thing. And then I decided on Italian strike. I stopped everything. I gave everything completely everything away. I just declared that I'm not doing it. I was not spiritual. I had no ideas about anything around it. I actually hated, spiritual people. And yes.
I love this so much. I know that people listening are going to relate to this story so much. So keep going.
Yeah. And then I just gave everything away, and I spoke with the universe without knowing that someone is actually listening. But I just said, something is not working here. So I've searched enough, and I'm not going to continue searching. It's supposed to come to me now. And it came. I had like a complete awakening during night sleep, and I woke up to be another person.
Wait. That happened overnight in your sleep? Like you had a full identity overhaul during your sleep, full DNA upgrade?
Completely. Everything changed. Even the way that I was looking. Like I remember looking at myself at the mirror the day after. Like I was not the same person. Of course, there were some, like leftovers, and like there needs to be a catch up for the rest of my bodies to this shift in my spiritual body completely shifted and then awakened. And then my mental body, my emotional body needed to catch up. Mm-hmm. Everything moved a huge chunk forward, but there was still some catching up that needed to happen. And because I left everything already before it happened, like I already resigned, I was working in an agency. I left the agency. I had private clients. I had 3 houses that I was in the middle of different stages of, I gave them away to other architects. So it's like I was so ready for an identity shift. And then when it happened, I was like already ready to start.
And you were ready to start, like what came through for you? Because like you weren't spiritual whatsoever. And yes, you woke up that morning. So what made itself clear?
Oh my God. So everyone is spiritual. It's just either you acknowledge it or not, right?
Yes.
So what happened is the spiritual domain, and I had no access to it, although I was hyper sensitive and hyper empathic, like all of that was still open here. And then there was like a connection, and it started, it's like everything
aligning.
Everything just came clear. I was psychic before. I just didn't know I'm psychic. I was sensitive before. I just didn't know that this is it. I could see auras before, but I thought everyone is saying it, because you're not going to say to your friend, can you see the shoulder of that person? or no, it's like you see it and you think that everyone sees it. So like I had that. It just was not activated. It
Maybe
didn't.
you weren't giving yourself permission to go
I
there.
had no education around me, nothing around me that was spiritual or connected to energy work, none of it. So, like, imagine you are living in a country that doesn't speak a certain language, and then one day you move to another country and you discover that you understand everything in the language that they speak, but you didn't know it because you never visit before. You've never seen it. You had no friends there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's so much to unpack just there, but it makes me just think, just for myself, where I've had these biggest awakening is actually by removing myself from the physical space and environment that I'm in and putting myself in a different environment through retreats, in-person work. And that it kind of makes me think of that, your analogy, where you got this massive expansion. And how old were you at the time when this happened?
So I was in my Saturn return. It was in my 30s.
Uh-huh.
I was in my 30s and it just happened.
Exploded. And so how did you now, okay, so you started now embodying this new version of you, exploring what that looks like, trying to calibrate your physical body, emotional body with your spiritual self. And how did this light activator concept, like where and when did this come along? What did you observe?
Yeah, so what happened is I was blessed to find a teacher very, very quickly. And that started to give me, like the vocabulary, some understanding. This is why I also so highly believe in mentorship and having a master. Like the fact that you can be blessed by grace itself doesn't mean that you don't need to have, like what is really supporting you on the physical plan, to have a mentor, to have a master, to have a teacher, to have peers, like all of that is so important. So I had a teacher and then I took a master on myself. And for maybe 16 years, I think that I was in a lineage, in a curandero lineage, a healing lineage, shamanic lineage that was rooted in Mexico. And, with the years, I became a master and a master's master in that lineage. And yeah, from having no idea about anything, I became a person who initiated others to heal, to work with energy, to perceive energy, to morph, to play, everything. Like the unseen world became very clear, I would say. And I've noticed after many years and like thousands of people that I've initiated and birthed the healer out of them, I was going wherever I go, I could see who's the one who have healing energies and are still not working with it, or, things like that. And of course, there were people who had healing energies and came to me because of the unique, there's something so unique in the energy work that I offered. But I noticed that most of the people are getting really good energy, mastering, working with energy, and like supporting others and healing others and so on. And they do heal until a certain extent. And I felt that there is a piece that didn't move forward. And I started to be very, very focused on that piece. And I've realized that it's great to teach healing and healing techniques. It's amazing. But if the person is not anchored in the fact that you, as a light activator, you're an extension of the divine. Everyone is an extension of the divine. But even more, if you decide light leadership, like there's so much awareness that you need to bring into that. And I felt that people are doing strong healing, but it was like almost outside of their body, like Jesus on the wall of the church. So healing techniques that they've been initiated, and they couldn't bring themselves into, I am the one who's really doing it. And I felt like I'm arriving to a place of saturation with teaching healing and working with healing. I worked with so many people, like even severe situations, people that couldn't give birth, or people who were on the edge of dying and had cancer and things like that. Like I was working quite intense, and I was initiating so many. And I felt like it is time to move from healing to health. I felt it needs to be a vision. And I felt the distortion of many people expecting that the healer or the shaman will be so healthy and so powerful and like would have no issues, without the understanding of, whoa, like we're living life like everyone else. I'm not supposed to be, I don't know, like in a laboratory, friction-free with anything that is happening in life. I'm actually supposed to demonstrate how you transform shadow to light. It's therefore, I am supposed to meet shadow here and there and really understand the depth of it. And so it's not like you move from healing to health in sense of you're not dealing with healing anymore, but your perception needs to move to health. And as I started moving from a perception of I'm giving healing to this is a health generation that we are activating energetically, I started to realize that the wording light worker in the setting of the era that we are at creates a distortion in someone's body when you identify yourself as a light worker, because it's work. And if it is work, it is given by someone else, and you are doing the work. You're not the one who is doing, you're not the one who decided. You're not the one who's calling upon it. And I've said to myself that I'm not continuing with this title of a light worker. I don't work in light or for light. I am the light. And the light is me. And it is passing through me. And I am an extension of the divine consciousness. I am a ray of light from the great central sun. And the ripple effect. I am a manifestation of divine consciousness. I am a ripple effect of divine consciousness. And therefore, my state is as an extension. I cannot be facing the sun in that sense. I am an extension of it. I am an extension. So my work is to activate and regenerate and awaken consciousness and become really like a ripple effect of the source. And I cannot work for it and then stop working one day. It's like it cannot be work.
I love this so much.
Yes, me too. And I'm happy that we have a conversation. People can get that and start calling themselves light activator. That should be used.
Yeah. And I think that intertwined into this, there's a level of self-leadership also. You've mentioned, often healers or shamans are put on a pedestal. Like you said, like you're supposed to be the divine source. You're supposed to have it all figured out, when in fact, and it's the same for mentors and coaches and in whatever industry, often mentors get put on this pedestal when in fact, just like everyone else, we are living this life. And it is because we are living this life so actively, so all in, that we get to have these, I guess, higher contemplations or higher, activations that we are able to then ripple down. But I love this conversation around leading ourselves, wherever we are on the path. We have to take ownership that we are it.
Yeah. I feel in this dynamic, and probably with the people who are listening that are already here in the astral aspect of it, inspired from your sharing, I want to highlight something. I feel that pedestal is judgment, is just positive judgment. But it is a preconception and it is judgment. And that really needs to be looked at. And I feel that the idea of putting someone on a pedestal, and we all have that, is an idea of separation and not an idea of connection. While the appropriate is a respect. Like instead of putting someone on pedestal, give them the respect they deserve. Because when you put them on pedestal, you judge them positively, and then you can easily, when they push your button, and who knows, the state of consciousness that you are in relation to your master, in relation to your teacher, most likely you will be triggered, you should be triggered, you will be activated, because there are, sometimes stagnated patterns, and your teacher, your master is here to support you releasing those stagnated patterns in order to, bloom. But if you got used to protecting them so much for so many years, your teacher and your master will trigger you. It will feel like a trigger, not because they are doing it against you. And then the positive pedestal, the positive judgment just can easily transform to a negative judgment instead of anchoring yourself in respect. And if you're able to anchor yourself in respect to those that you have chosen as teachers and as masters, you're actually anchoring yourself in respect for yourself, which is the really good self-leadership. I respect myself that I made this decision to learn in that lineage, to learn in that communion, to be in contact with this teacher and with this master. I respect myself and I take on myself the lessons that needs to come with it. It's part of the game.
If you've been following me for a while, you know how obsessed I am with my morning routine. My morning ritual is really what sets me up for the day by raising my energy and opening the field of possibilities. Now, after being asked over and over again for all the juicy details of what do I do in my morning ritual, I decided to write an ebook about it. Now, this ebook, I promise it won't disappoint. I go in details into the 9 steps that I include every morning in my routine. Now, I do want to reassure you, you don't have to do all the 9 steps to gain any benefits, because in fact, the mere fact of wanting to create an intentional morning ritual, and even if there's only a single step in it, will actually open your field of abundance. And that is why I love my ritual so much. I have created this ebook so that you can actually contemplate and reflect and experiment with brand new things that you might never have considered adding to your routine. And trust me, this one will create momentum. That is my goal. And you are going to be invited at the end of the ebook to create your very own morning ritual based on what you learned in the ebook. Now, all of this is now finally available for only $11. You can message me with the word morning and I will send you the link to get access right away to this incredible ebook that is going to add so much value to your day. Now, trust me, this one is too good not to miss. And hey, why not also gift it to someone that you care about?
This is so beautiful. And that's related to self-worth also, isn't it? To be able to respect ourselves, we need to remember that we are whole, that we are not broken, that we are not enough, like what we get, reflected by society, by social conditioning and all the things, like remembering that we are enough and we have the tools to be this light activator.
Exactly. Now you can understand why light workers started to feel so uncomfortable, because it just kept on having this, oh, I am just a vessel for the divine. Oh, I'm just a conductor. And there was such a passive energy in it, which I just couldn't lead with it anymore. I couldn't be in relationship with it anymore. I felt like that needs to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we are an extension of the divine. We are light leaders. If you truly anchor yourself in the truth that light is all that there is, that consciousness is the source of all creation, therefore, you cannot have this, almost we can say, passive aggressive attitude, right, towards it. On one hand, oh yeah, I am a healer and I run divine energies, but once I go out of the clinic and the energies are not passing through me anymore and my self-doubt comes again, then I'm already, like I'm less, and I wouldn't be able to do that, and I'm not good enough, and so on. And one of the things that happened to me is, once I really anchored in it and I started to create a membership where, like, light activators can come together and we can really shift the way that we converse around what we do, and shift the internal communication and the internal perception. And as I was there communing with them, I started seeing the template of who we are, like how we are made energetically, how our chakra system is designed in a certain way, and the dynamic between different chakras. And then later, after like half a year of anchoring in this template, I've received another layer, which is the imprint, where I've realized that there are 4 main type of light activators. And each one is very distinct, so you can recognize who you are. But then the truth is, we're all under the same template. I hope that this is okay. Is the vocabulary okay? Or
Totally.
Yeah, okay.
I want to know
Okay.
which one I am now. You probably know. Just find it.
I suspect that you're a flame illuminator, but you're going to check and see for yourself. But the reason that I want to highlight it is, I feel that with it, it's like the path of mastery for light activator start to be really clear for me. That it's like it really went away from light worker. It really went away from us doing a certain job that we need to do. I've realized who we are as a society of light worker. I've realized who we are for ourselves, who we are for the planet. And that was so big. And then I also realized through the different imprints, I've realized that the entire perception of what healing is so anchored in a Western healing, where you need to heal and fix and get it set, instead of blessing whatever disease or discomfort or issue that you have, knowing that you've been chosen. You've been really, really, really chosen to transform that from shadow into light. So I had it before. I had my own vision about healing, but understanding the template, understanding the different type of healers that we have and who we are for society, what we're holding, that was massive. It was so massive for me.
So you have a quiz for this, right?
There's a quiz, yes.
Okay, so we'll put the link in the show notes because I think this is so fun. And there's a couple things you said that I want to go back. To me, when I hear you speak about light activator, what I appreciate also is it feels really embodied in a harmony of masculine and feminine energy, where, we are it and we are receiving and we are worthy and we feel open to receive and create from that place, which is more the feminine energy. But at the same time, we get to still be in the action and actually create change from that place, and like you said, create this healing, this health, but actually create the ripple for others so that they can go on and be activated to do the same after. And so I find that to be beautiful because, and this is something I also feel my teachings are very harmonized, because I find it's either one or the other that we find online. You know, often we'll have teachers that are only, especially when it's spiritual, it's usually very feminine. And what happens is usually, women will go in there and yes, they will remember their feminine energy, but they will lack action. And then very soon they will drop this calling because it's not generating money, because it's creating more lack. It's, you know, and so that's such a big problem. And I witnessed that so much where, you know, because when, like you said, when you are chosen, when you have this calling, that there is more, like you had when you were in your 30s, being like, you know, a really successful architect, which most people would think this is it. You know, this is success. This, like, why would you want more out of life? Yet you had something inside of you that was like, there's something that's not right. And I'm sharing this because I know a lot of women listening are in this position right now where they feel they are being called higher. Yet it feels scary because what we are thinking is, could this actually generate abundance? Could following this calling actually bring me safety, financial safety to my family, financial legacy even? And I know you speak a lot about that, which I love. So can we touch on this a little bit? Like,
getting a lot, even if you want.
What?
Okay, so several things came to me as you brought that. First is the way that I see it, when you were calling it masculine and feminine, I call it the receiver and the transmitter.
Beautiful.
So what is happening is that the feminine is the receiver. Then you get codes from the divine. Then you get the insights. I have the full body shiver as I'm speaking of it. You channel, right? You channel, you get the codes. I'm a bit, you know, like I'm using it in a little bit of a humor, but I'm like, I know the path, right? So you channel, you receive, you're the receiver. But if you would not be willing to be the transmitter, then of course there will be limitation of how much you're going to earn, because we're not anymore living in a society where people will recognize you as, you know, like as an embodiment of a higher self or something like that and going to start serving you. No, it's like, Jesus already took 40 years or 40 days in the desert. That is done. 40 days under the tree is also done. 40 days on the mountain also done. We need to do like 40 days in the marketplace or something like that. This is our 40 days. It's like, it's different. We're different in a different society. We have different dilemmas. And actually, we have different type of people to support.
Yeah.
And part of the way of really supporting is being in the sweet point of seeing as a big vision from a higher perspective, but also knowing how to tap into someone's energy field and get that person activated. Why is it like light activator? Because I don't heal no one. All that I need to do, in a way, is support this person to plug themselves back into the socket.
Yes.
Right? They need to get their life force activated again into these new frequencies. And this is my job as a healer. This is my job as a mentor. This is what I'm doing. Right? Okay, so therefore, I need to respect that I am here chosen to be both a receiver and a transmitter. That needs to be really, really, really clear. If you're not taking also the fact that you're a transmitter, you must understand that you stay a spiritual baby and you're not fully embodying your calling and the entire request, I would even say, from the divine. You've been designed in a very specific way. The energy is running in your circuits in a very specific way. Your antennas are designed in a very specific way. And you're still not an angel. So you do have two legs and they need to move. You do have two hands, they need to move. And you do have a mouth that needs to speak. And that is the transmitter. And if the transmitter is not doing the work and really being there for plugging, almost we can say penetration, but of course it's not a negative experience. If the transmitter is not there to do the work, you will have a question about how much you will earn. Of course. But then if you will be willing to be also the transmitter and the receiver, first, the experience of grace within you will be much more whole and complete. You wouldn't feel so depleted because you will be even more supported. And then the entire perspective of, I am really bringing all my energy to this. There is a reason why all the temples were covered with gold. Masters were sitting with gold on their chest, on gold chairs, with diamond and crown and diamonds on the crown. There is a reason why wealth is actually super anchored in spirituality. Of course, there's also reasons and stories why that was detached. Okay, but then what story would you like to live? The one where your frequency, you are supposed to be able to handle high frequency. And high frequency in matter, not high frequency in the astral realm that no one knows what you're doing actually when you're sitting in your meditation. Physically, you're sitting in meditation, the eyes are closed. I don't know if you think about pizza or nothing. Or maybe pizza and nothing is both for you. We don't know that. So the mastery is really on the act of service. The mastery is in where the potency of the divine is being seen. And it's not that it needs to be seen through the gold and through the diamond. No, not at all. You can be really, really simple in the way that you behave, in the way that you walk. But your practice is that the presence of the divine will be present with you. When you enter the room, people want to feel God. It needs to feel divine. They need to exchange with you to get the shiver, to get the transformation, to explain that they cannot explain. Like something needs to happen which is unparalleled. So how could it be if you in your own day, you're not moving yourself into embodying high frequencies in everything that matters to you? And if from one reason or another, continuing learning and evolving matters to you, or having wealth matters to you, or your well-being matters to you, then your choice could be also to have abundance as an extension of the divine. It's really whatever you put your attention on can come to life for you. And as if you decided that wealth is part of it, let it be part of it. It's not essential, but it's also not a no.
Mm-hmm. So many truth bombs there from the spiritual baby that really, I loved hearing that. The concept of receiver transmitter is so powerful. I feel like just that alone made this podcast like such a powerful transmission, because this is where people get stuck. This is where people move in circle and get discouraged from this higher calling, this higher work. And this is where our job as mentors and teachers, we absolutely need to get people back into the transmission piece, because this is how we're going to create the change we want to see on this planet. It's not, it is by showing that it is possible. And so if you're listening to this right now and you feel like you've been tapping into the receiving piece, which is maybe in your meditation when you're not thinking about pizza, like you are receiving ideas and codes and messages and downloads, and call them whatever you want, but you feel like you are receiving information, yet you are keeping that to yourself, then that's actually when you can create more blockages. That's actually when we can create dis-ease also in the body. And that's why I often talk about biohacking our body, our sacred temple, and our soul, and our business, and our bank account, because it gets to actually all work together. Because when you hold on to those sacred gifts and those sacred codes, and you don't go and share them, then the universe is like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to move to the next one that actually knows what to do with them. And it actually gets to be as simple as that.
Yeah. And again, those who will choose to do their quiz and recognize what is their imprint, they will also be able to see what in the way that they are created, they are living the shadow of a certain thing that makes them separate from the light work. This is the way that I say it. It's like you're a light worker, but you do your light in the shadow. No. Come on. Go on the stage, write the book, speak, teach, heal, do it, and let everyone see it. And there's something in the Constitution that does have a little bit of a trigger. Yeah, I can explain that so much. You want to go a little bit deeper here?
I think we're like, the path is open, so let's go. We can't really stop here. I don't think it would be
okay.
Safe.
So one of the most meaningful thing for a light activator is that the frequency of our heart is more goldish than greeny. Yeah. So you need to have like an antenna in your heart to be able to be empathic, to be able to receive messages from the divine. It's like, of course, you get that through your crown and your third eye, but actually your heart needs to have more metal frequency. And that is a big frequency to hold, a golden heart. But the golden heart is essential because that makes the difference between most of the people. They have a certain level of caring for others, while once you have a golden heart, you have a more intense level of caring for other and identification with others, etc. So if we stay in the traditional chakra system vision, that the heart is so big, gold, and potent, and what is happening is that the solar plexus and the throat are compensating the majestic heart that you have. So different light activators in different imprints are either have an issue with their power, so the solar plexus is smaller, or they have issues with their throat. The throat is smaller. And they compensate like that or the other, either afraid to show up, to show their light, fear from authority, fear from power, fear from their own power, like the solar energy, or fear of speaking the truth, of expressing your vision, of being different from the other or being seen different by the other, tendency to please, tendency to be silent. Like, now I know that if I'm going to keep on expressing and describing what is the template, like you will find yourself there. There's no possibility. If you're an empath, if you're a light worker, you're going to find yourself in the template because you're in the template. But then this is also the medicine. Once you realize that actually I was designed like that. And therefore, for example, my silence or the fact that I cannot speak is not something that I should hold myself, but rather use the silence and use the internal understanding as a type of an ode to the divine. And therefore, your presence starts to be meaningful and you start to acknowledge that. Or the same with the solar plexus. Like I am from the imprint that have an issue with the solar plexus, have issues with authority, have issues with power and being in the power. Now, you don't see me and you will say, oh, this woman have issues with authority. She have issues with her power. No, but I'm working on that. I'm working on that because I've realized that this is part of my constitution and I've learned how to use my solar plexus in a way that doesn't compensate for the golden heart. And that brings us actually to self-leadership and why boundaries are a topic that is so important for me and so on. But yeah, I wanted to describe that. Like I wanted to describe a little bit of the constitution so people can recognize and find themselves. And if they can find themselves in those details, then they can also have more the peace and the strength to show up as light leaders. You're not a victim of the fact that you've been chosen to lead with light. You're not a victim of your sensitivity. You're not a victim of your empathic nature, you're actually a queen.
There you go. You're a queen. And how does a queen maintain her boundary? Because the queen is going to get challenged by 3D life.
Yeah.
So how does she stay with the crown on, proud in her throne, and protect that power, really?
Yeah. So the first vision is that no one puts a crown on your head. No one will ever put you. Yeah. And if you can put the crown on your head, so it really doesn't matter if someone will put that for you or doesn't put that for you. But then even more than that, you don't put that for you. It's supposed to come out of your skull.
Ooh.
This is a crown. The representation of a gold crown and this antenna, this satellite, is just a representation of what's been seen in the astral plane. It's not an object, it's an imitation of an antenna that you have, in any case, on your crown. Like you have this antenna.
I need to show you something. I'm going to go grab something.
So I'm waiting for you for a moment. I don't know how far you still need to go, but
I just want to show you something. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, this is something I had a vision and I drew. On my last retreat, we had like a creative session. It is not a beautiful at all. Like but can you see what you are talking about?
Yeah. I actually find it so beautiful. I really love the golden sky, and I really love that you have, I don't know if you can see that and you feel comfortable, like this, the DNA, the horizontal DNA, layers of DNA. This is so beautiful.
And the red cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can speak about it so much. Oh, like I can read.
I had this vision and then we just had this art session and I just did this in literally 10 minutes and it was all coming out of me. And now you're talking about this crown that looks like an antenna. And I'm like, wow, okay, wait a minute. That's the vision I had. So
yeah. The reason that a crown looks like the way that it looks is because what we have here is a type of a satellite. Energetically, this chakra is a type of a satellite. And then there's like those different antennas with different, like gems and diamonds and so on to be able to perceive high frequencies and let that sink in.
Oh my.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So that coming into boundaries, it's like I am the one that allowing my crown to come out and be seen. No one's going to put a crown on me. And if you ask yourself in your life, for me, it did never work. If someone is telling you, oh, you're amazing, you're incredible. I mean, like you can take it as a compliment, but the potency when you're saying to yourself, God.
Yeah. Oh, this was, yeah. Yes. It's so
right.
Yes.
I'm so proud of myself. I made a move. I've done that. I just completed this. I achieved that. I made that investment. I transformed that pattern. I created this offering. Like, whoa, that's so strong.
Mm-hmm.
No one going to put a crown on your head, even if on the physical planet it would look like, it wouldn't stay long. You are the one responsible. And if you are the one responsible to put this crown or to allow this crown really to lead you, then boundaries is like a horizontal dimension that support this multidimensional presence. Boundaries is a support system. It's a system of connection to yourself, not of separation from others. And that shift is really, really essential. And I feel that, of course, for a lot of spiritual people, the reason that they can even speak about crown and antenna and get the codes and so on is because they are open. Their heart is open. Their heart is metal all day. You feel others. You're compassionate towards others. You want the change of the world. You really want to support and guide others. And like this is so deep. And your sensitivity is actually where you make money, right? Like, I don't want to stop my sensitivity because this is my fountain of gold. Now, when you have that, if you're going to have a perception of boundaries, it's almost like you need to separate, and you wouldn't feel comfortable with yourself, and it's going to feel very, very challenging. And you might even perceive yourself as detaching from the limitless perception of who you are and what you are, the multidimensional perception. So therefore, your cultivation of healthy boundaries are actually of service of the divine. You're using boundaries as an act of connection. Connection to yourself, connection to your mission, connection to the truth. Your boundaries are truths. They decide if that is aligned or not, if that resonates or not. You must sit on your throne in order to realize if that is something that comes closer or not today, or not in that way. Once the worker, not the one in full presence, will be occupied on the corners of, I want that, I don't want that, she said to me, she didn't tell me, she's like, no, healthy boundaries, you don't need to say, it is so clear within you that this is what manifests, that this is how the creation goes. And if you see that it doesn't work, sometimes people are telling me, so should I speak with that person? Like they have a certain issues or something like that. And they say, should I speak with that person? Or giving me an advice, oh, go and speak with that person. No, I'm not going to speak with the hologram. She's like, I need to do my inner work. My boundary work, my ascension work, my light work, my standards. Like I need to do my internal work so that we'll have the ripples and the hologram will shift. It's a whole different concept of working on boundaries. And I feel that this is a big missing piece for many light workers. Mm-hmm. They go into the drama of the dynamic with other people, and that doesn't have any end. It's like just draining energy.
So it's really a full embodiment. Again, that serves the receiving and the transmitter. Yeah. Right? Because if you're not embodying this boundary, it's within you, it's who you are. And that's, then you get stuck, like you say, in the details. Get stuck in the
Yes. This is why I was like, so with my eyes, like, whoa, when you spoke about the masculine and the feminine, so she's getting it. We see the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And okay, there's something else you said. Wait, it just went, and I know it's going to come back. That I wanted to add. Okay, maybe it's not meant to come now. There's just so much you said there about boundaries and standards, but I would love to kind of distill it down as we come close to an end here. Of course, we could keep this conversation going for days, I feel like. So people that are listening to this right now that are like, this went all over my head. It's like, oh my gosh. I always say to them, first, listen to your body, see how your body responded to this conversation. Don't try to make sense with your head because it's not going to happen with your head. So first of all, as you are listening, wherever you are, just pay attention to your body. Has it been, buzzing? Did you feel a sacral hit, a fire inside, maybe a lump in your throat? Like, how are you feeling right now? And then do you have any tips on, rituals, or is there any must do or must have that you recommend your clients, in order to foster that connection, that remembrance, in order to activate our own selves before we can go and activate someone else? Like, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I feel that I want to add to your invitation for the people to really feel how it feels in their body, and also let that sink. The beauty of transmissions, which you are learning actually by even listening to become someone who can transmit is also the willingness for that to shift something in your etheric body, and then it will sink in your body and you will wake up into a new realization and even a new behavior. Like really allow that to sink. And then I strongly, strongly believe in a sacred space, like creating a sacred space and maintaining a sacred space in your environment for that to show up finally in your internal life. So having an altar where you lit a candle and you put a prayer and you take a moment, even if it is just like even 5 minutes, where you rest in your God self. It's like the work of, having flowers on the altar and lighting a candle and taking this moment is not a worship to whatever Kuan Yin or, Mother Kali or, whomever you're going to put on your altar. It is a moment where you are bringing this noble frequency that you know well that exists. Now, I'm sure that many of the people here are doing some different practices. Like I do Pilates, which I love very much. And, you do Pilates 1 hour a week, but it changed your body for the entire week, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then it accumulates over time. And then after a year, you don't have the same body anymore. And you just done it just 1 hour a week. Of course, if you do it more, you take this 5 minutes of worshiping life, resting in light, reconnecting to light, and you do that really intentionally. You bring your heart to that, you bring your prayer to that. It is a sacred moment for you. That will have an impact on the entire day.
Yeah.
You might not realize that on the first day, but then after a few days, you will realize, oh, I can actually rest more, or I can actually put myself as a priority. Oh, I can hold more light and awareness. Wow, I'm less reactive. Like all of those steps are essential steps in mastery. And if you're not taking a moment where you reset your system to say, the priority is inside out, me first, I am the embodiment of the truth, let that shine. Like if that is not clear and you don't take a moment for that to be clear, then to what would you tap during the day for that to be really anchored?
Yeah, I so agree with you. Creating these moments of solitude, dating yourself is so, so important. And really, it is the only time you can be in that frequency of receiving when you think of it, right? So we got to create that space in order to receive. Because if we go from back-to-back meetings, which is how I used to run my life, trust me, you don't get any downloads from that when you go from one place to the next. And this is another thing I often say to any like busy, ambitious, high drive women that are listening who probably thrive on a busy schedule, busy calendar. This is your first invitation, is to actually look at your calendar. And I actually did a story about this morning. Like, is there anything in there that you can delegate? Do you actually yourself need to be in every one of those meetings? How can you create more space for you for this time in prayer, meditation, contemplation, whatever you want to call it. But these are the moments that create the golden threads with the transmission afterwards. And then you can be a better mom, a better partner, a better leader from that place. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so beautiful.
Let's finish by cheering to liquid light same time. So I
was so thirsty during it. I was like, can I drink? So I'll take a sip with you now.
So we are both drinking this hydrogen rich water from this vessel called Lumivite. So cheers. Drinking liquid light. And I'm just curious to hear your thoughts about it, because you have been one of the early adopter on this technology, on this mission also to bring more liquid life available in homes of people. So I'm just curious in closing, how's it, like, what are the shifts you felt by drinking this type of water?
So many. I really also feel like, of course, I felt physical shifts. My breath changed. I had a lot of breathing issues. My breath really shifted well. And some skin things also transformed. Like there's a lot of shifts on the physical plan. The entire family, we all drink that. No, I cannot drink other waters anymore. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
But I feel that what is really important here is also to bring the spiritual aspects. I feel that there's a faster integration of codes that are coming while drinking. I feel that creation is easier when it is aligned and for the highest good of all. I feel that there's a depth that is coming. There are layers in my expression that open up way more easily. I feel that all together this year of drinking it, and I don't know, maybe so many other things, but I also feel it is very much connected to this, to drinking the water. I have more power, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost like it's supporting ascension.
Not almost. I feel really the thing.
Yeah. 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 It is fascinating. And that's, there are so many bottles, hydrogen water bottles on the market, but, I know it's probably also why you were called by this one. It's the frequency imprint. It's the light therapy. It's also the people standing behind it. And it's interesting because you're in Portugal, which I forgot to mention, but also the founder, Nina, he practices in Portugal. So you're kind of on the sacred land already. You're already dipping into those beautiful frequencies.
Yes.
So you probably
when people are asking me why that and not the other one, because of the consciousness of the one who created it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very, very unique human being. Yeah, modern day Tesla.
Exactly. So I highly, highly recommend. I feel that this is powerful and deep. It's really awakened the body. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's very worth it.
Yeah, beautiful. I'll put the link also in the show notes. So, Homaya, where can people find you? I'm sure they're going to be like wanting to dive deeper into your world. So we'll put the quiz in the show notes, but where else do you hang out?
So I hang out actually a lot on Instagram. It's easy to find me because Homaya, thanks God, there's only some air conditioners in India by that name.
Go ahead.
So that could be easy. And I don't know when the show will come, but it could be that my website will be launched by then, which is incredible. So homaya.org could be also a place to really dive into so many things that can be offered.
Yeah. And you might have a new program or a new offer called Elite.
Yes.
Available. So we'll put the link to that as well.
Yeah, Elite is like, I was wondering if to call it Mastery. And then I felt like there's so many things that are now being in the market under the name Mastery, which I feel that it's very spiritual name because only in spirituality you take a master on yourself and you have the understanding of it. So so I decided to call it Elite.
Elite.
And it is all about...
I love it. It's in line with everything we've talked about, right?
Yeah. And it's everything about healthy boundaries and self-mastery and having boundaries that empowers you in business and in life and in relationship. It's epic.
Oh, just like you. Well, thank you so much for sharing this incredible journey you are on. And you were telling me before we started, and I hope I can share your age, but you're like, I'm 53 and I'm thriving and I'm living, the best life I never thought I could have. And so you're just a beautiful reflection to anybody who's feeling like it's too late, like they're never going to get a chance, that their dream is passing by. It's like, no. become a light activator, receive and transmit, and things are going to start shifting. So thank you for reflecting that back to all of us.
Thank you. Yeah, I do feel that spirit guides are really searching for people to support. Like,
yeah,
you're going to be recruited once you raise your hand.
It's a big mission. We need to be more people for sure activating the light back. So thank you so much. And I will see you somewhere on the internet. Bye for now.
Thank you.
The information shared on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't provide any medical advice. Vanessa Grutman does not cure, diagnose, or treat disease. Please consult your physician before trying any new protocol or product.